Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just got done uploading the video you will have seen possibly last night about my DJI Phantom 4 drone. My name first, the title of this video: Trump abandons economic reforms to embrace war spending, and I got another one after that. I hate to say this: Trump flips on 5 core key campaign promises in under 24 hours. Or at least it seems. But it sure, like, super sure seems that way. But the video has no audio, the one I'm telling you about, which you may have seen last night, because it's a built-in camera on the drone. It's a Phantom 4. It's not a Pro version. It's the regular version. They had those things on sale at newegg.com. They're new, but it's a refurbished, factory refurbished. $7.99. $7.99. Are you out of your mind? And I bought an extra battery just for the hell of it, which was $150. That's what they cost. And then I've got the what is this thing? NVIDIA K2 something 8-inch tablet. You put the tablet on the controller or the transmitter or whatever, you know, that you control the craft with, and you can see what the camera sees and control it. And there's all kinds of heads-up display and signal strength and how high you are off the ground. I mean, the technology, when I used to have a Phantom 2, like if you search for JSNIP 4 in YouTube, Phantom, I have some old footage from a park, I think, from the Phantom 2. The 3's out, the 4's now out, and rumor has it the 5's going to be coming out in the near future. But for $7.99, when these things are normally like $1,200, I had to get one. And it is a blast. It's got a sensor on the front, so if you go too close to something, it'll stop by itself. You lose signal, it will come right back to you and land. It's fantastic. But my neighbor told me, one of our friends, you know, lives in the neighborhood. Oh, I got, you know, our mom got a drone, and she turned it on, it went up and went over the houses that way, and then that was it. She never saw it again. We think it's behind in the trees back there. So I was thinking to myself, man, I wonder if I could use my drone. But it was really windy the last few days. So I was like, and I don't like, and they can handle some wind, these drones, the Phantom 4, but I still don't like it. I'm not going to fly it. So today, it was hardly windy at all, just a little bit. Took that baby up, as you'll see in the video, and I'm like, okay, they said it was over their houses, so I'm going to go that way, look around, and even though I got a little 8-inch tablet, I can still see this little black dot on the ground between the trees. I'm like, I wonder if that's it. So as I turn a little closer, man, it kind of has an X cross shape. So I was like, okay, let me go rig up my drone with a little hanger thing in the center of it. It comes with a piece that covers the camera lens, like we're not using it, that attaches to the landing pad, whatever, pads, or whatever it's called, the feet. And it snaps on. So it's pretty rugged. So I put it towards the back of the drone, snapped it on upside down, and then essentially taped a hanger that was cut about, I don't know, a little more than a foot long, with a little hook on there, and said, you know what, I'm going to try this. Because I'd had to jump a couple of fences, and I didn't know if there were dogs. I was looking around, I didn't see any dogs. But that was an awesome save. Fantastic. I'm so proud of that one. That was epic. So I knocked on the door, as you saw. Hey, guess what I found? Epic. So anyways, both articles are from Zero Hedge right now. And I may have another third one. Back on the whole real estate rental thing. New York City office market plunges in Q1. Webbot said high-end real estate and whatnot, you're going to see it plunge first before you start to see regular real estate. I've already given numerous examples. But anyways, we're going to start with this one. Trump abandons economic reforms to embrace war spending. Authored by Ryan Macon via the Mises Institute. In February, David Stockman pointed out that the Trump administration appears none too interested in addressing many of the economic issues that Trump claimed would be the center of his administration. Instead, Stockman noted, Trump spent all his time obsessing over his travel ban, which he still can't get beyond the courts, and other non-economic issues. Now, I will say, though, hold on, because if you look at the title, Trump abandons economic reforms and embrace war spending. Well, what's more important when something comes up? Like what we're talking about possibly happening in North Korea. They've got a nuke test today, Thursday, underground somewhere. They're doing an underground nuke test, apparently. We got warships heading over there. I mean, then you got Syria. We already bombed the airfield. I mean, if you were president, would you be like, let's put that on hold and let's work on the economy, the wall and the, economic reform and tax, honestly, what you're going to have to deal with. So in that, I got to be fair, but I do have to report this because it does seem that way. It's the economy, stupid. Trump was elected because flyover America is hurting economically. The voters of Racine, Wisconsin, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, are imperiled, not because of some refugees. They're imperiled because their jobs have all been disappearing for decades. The problem is far more the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, the bubbles they're creating on Wall Street. And speaking of that, I may have to get a little more in depth in my next video on that because that's part of it. And that was before Trump mishandled the Obamacare repeal. And again, you can't fully blame, as a matter of fact, you can't hardly blame him. It was really Ryan Care. Even though Trump wanted it passed, he still wanted it passed to pass. And it didn't. But he wanted it to. So again, who's all to blame? There's a few people, but still. But now that it's April, it's all the more clear that Stockman was right. Trump and the GOP have already abandoned the Obamacare issue, and the Trump administration has now signaled there won't be any attempts at tax cuts anytime soon. However, I will say, even today, which actually yesterday, Wednesday, I read GOP so-and-so or lawmaker says we think we may, I thought he even said we may pull Congress out of the recess to come back and vote on Obamacare, repeal and replace. So it was back on the table, and then tax cuts are right after that, he said. Of course, my question is, what about the debt ceiling? We got to the end of the month. What about that? So I got to report everything that is currently happening. In February, Trump was promising a corporate tax cut bill in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, nothing's even on the horizon. Obamacare has also been relegated to the back burner. Nor should we expect anything on monetary policy. Trump has already hired a Treasury Secretary who praises Janet Yellen. And if Trump is an anti-establishment or anti-establishment on monetary policy as he is on foreign policy, then we can expect Trump to offer simply more of the same. Again, get ready to see my next video. And given Trump's big spending plans, Trump will certainly need the Fed, with its ability to further monetize the deficit spending. Trump is more than happy to keep going full speed ahead. Moreover, when the economy enters recession, we can expect Trump to call for both massive monetary and fiscal stimulus, just as his Republican predecessor, George W. Bush, did in the face of recession in 2001 and again in 2008. In response to the administration's obvious disinterest in economic issues, the Trump fanboys will surely cry, "Give him some time." But if Trump actually cared about these issues, he'd be talking about the need for tax cuts and relief from Obamacare. He'd be making speeches. He'd be meeting with Congress about it. He'd be telling voters to call their members of Congress and demand reform. He's been giving press conferences on how we need to get the government off the people's back. But no, none of that is happening. But I have to stop. I have to say, yeah, we really do need to give him some time. These are massive pieces of legislation. One needs to be repealed and replaced with something better. And the other one is massive, the tax code and corporate taxes, mostly not tax code and IRS tax, but you know what I mean, which you still got to pay taxes. It's tied to the IRS, but specifically business taxes, corporate taxes. It's big stuff. It is big stuff. So yeah, I do feel like still let's give him time to see what he's going to do, because it's not looking good. Everything right now is not looking good. But I did hear just today, which again was Wednesday. I don't know what the guy's name was, Democrat, Republican, I have no idea. One well, I'm sure it was probably a Republican. I doubt it was a Democrat that said it, but we're going to try to get something right away, get done with Obamacare, and we're going to jump on the corporate tax stuff next. That was his comment. So, and again, in all fairness, we really do have to give him a little more time. But the fact that he demoted Steve Bannon from Breitbart, and now he's away from the national security. He's no longer national security advisor or anything. He's got demoted completely. And his son-in-law, Trump's son-in-law, Kushner, banging the war drums hard, if you know what I mean. And he didn't get demoted. So again, not looking real good. But I do have to give you both sides when both sides exist. And right now, both sides exist. I don't know where this is going. I do not know where this is going. But I do have to report this. What's worse, when few changes Trump has made on regulatory reform have all been made through executive order. This means they will be immediately reversible when another administration comes in, probably 4 years from now. To make any lasting reform, Congress would need to take action on these matters. But Trump is either too lazy or too inept or too apathetic to do the hard work that comes with this type of lawmaking. I'm not going to buy that sentence. I'm not going to buy that sentence. I think that's being a little more cruel than necessary. And I don't think you could really make a case for that right now. Not yet. In order to move beyond rule by decree, which is clearly Trump's favored type of governing, he'd have to work with Congress. But this so-called master negotiator apparently lacks the necessary skills. It is now increasingly clear that the Trump administration is going to be at least 4 years of endless war, budget-busting spending, massive deficits, and more big government in general. His demonstrated preference is not for addressing the issues that won him the Rust Belt states. He's a war president now, and he has better things to do. But I would argue, did he want to become a war president, or was this just lobbed over there at him? Oh, we got to lose you over here. We need you to respond with military power, Mr. President. But, other side of that, Trump was calling for a large increase in the military budget, 65 billion, and he says it'll be probably much larger than that, but that's a start. Why would you need such a, and why are you so adamant about building up our military all of a sudden? We're going to rebuild build our military back up, and for what? Why? Why do we need to spend that money right now? Again, you want to fix jobs and bring that, So there's a lot of left hand, right hand, the left hand's back up again, the right hand's back up. What is he doing? But he hired this person in FDA, which is great. He did this, hired that, that's great. But then he's got Goldman Sachs over here, got Goldman Sachs over there. That's not great. You know what I mean? Moreover, Trump has already declared 75% of the federal budget to be off limits to budget cuts, and has pledged to spend $1 trillion more in infrastructure spending on top of the already bloated social spending budgets that he has pledged to not touch. He has also called for $50 billion more in military spending, again, and he said it would be even higher, in just the next year alone. That $50 billion is just chump change compared to what Trump will likely spend with his big plans for multiple wars, including wars in Syria and North Korea. Wars with boots on the ground, should Trump continue down that road, don't just cost a few $100 billion. They cost trillions. According to one conservative estimate, the U.S. has spent $3.6 trillion on wars between 2001 and 2016. That's not including future obligations to disabled veterans thanks to the wars. What could have been done with that money? To use the words of Trump himself, we could have rebuilt our country twice. Indeed, it may be a repeat of the George W. Bush years when Bush, via Medicare expansion, gave us the largest expansion of the welfare state since Johnson's Great Society, and then went on to break the bank with massive deficit spending on wars and welfare. Much of this, by the way, was done during a 6-year period when the GOP had control of both the White House and the Congress. That's why I always tell you, I'm not left, right, Democrat, Republican. I am, who can I possibly vote for that will change this crap? And how and why should I trust this person? And when I saw the absolute fight from the media and the entire status quo against Trump when he was running, that was the sign, that was the symbol. That's who I need to vote for. I don't need to know anything else. And to this date, they're still doing it. But once he attacked Syria, oh, he became president tonight. Those missiles going up was a beautiful sight. Oh, really? Beautiful to who? The warmongers. So maybe Trump's playing them. Maybe he's playing, okay, yeah, we'll do a little something, but like his response in Syria was like, really? And then they came out, we're not going to go for regime change. Actually, we are going to go for regime change. No, actually, we're not. We're going to leave it to the Syrian people. And yet when I turn on the radio in the morning, AM, nobody's talking like, oh, that was, those people faked it. You know, the fake videos, the Syrian mannequin challenge stuff, that's fake. And a lot of people are all over social media with that, showing, hey, we've been lied to. Yet the main radio voices out there aren't seeming to cover that. They're rolling with the same story of women and children being hurt and bombed. We got to do something. Same with Sean Hannity. He's not going the other way. He's right on board with it. Hugh Hewitt, same thing. And I've just got to say, well, Anyways, knee-jerk defenders of the GOP will no doubt point out that Obama spent immense amounts of taxpayer funds too, and that he placed huge regulatory burdens on American workers and business owners. No one denies that, nor did anyone seriously claim that Obama was going to be a budget cutter or lessen the burden of government on middle-class workers. Trump and his supporters do make such claims. Well, we do because that's what they're promising us. Just like Obama promised all you guys back in 2008, everything. And then we're going to fix healthcare. It's going to be phenomenal. And we're going to break up the ghetto and let them live in your nice middle-class neighborhood. And we're going to subsidize the living crap to the tune of $500 billion unaccounted dollars. HUD, Housing Agency, just found out, as I said the other day. So they were promised all those things, and Obama broke a lot of his promises. Now, sure, the HUD thing, he didn't break the promise. He sure helped. But where did the $500 billion come from? It's unfunded, it's unaccountable, and now it's gone. I'll just tack it on the taxpayers' back. So we got stuck with it. So it was all talk. We're going to do this, and it was horrible for us. And you could argue, thus far, it may be the same thing. And I would say I would not argue against you, which, again, is why I don't play the left, right, Republican, Democrat. I don't play that game. I am not. Did I vote for Trump? I did. Because I saw how the mainstream, status quo, media, all of it was against him. Unbelievably. And he is a smart man. So is there a chance he will be able to make his promises come true, but also having to deal with the major war that's about to take place? Which will take a lot of his time, if you know what I mean. And that may have been dumped on his lap by the status quo establishment / deep state. Oh, now you got to deal with this. You got to deal with the nuclear North Korea. You've got to deal with Syria. The Chinese are over there, etc. They're trying to help. You know, they're a currency manipulator. They're not a currency manipulator. They might be. No, they're not. I'm not going to label them. You know, that's my next video. Take care.